Absolutely. Oh, it's so fabulous to meet you, Betty Boo. How are you?
I'm fine, and to meet you too. I've seen all your posts and stuff about, and follow you and things on Twitter and whatnot. So,
Oh, thank you very much.
finally.
Finally, yes. And of course, you're recouping from last week with your 4-star review from the Times at the Lafayette, which I really wanted to go. Now,
Oh,
how did that go? It
oh,
looked brilliant. The footage on YouTube is
oh, it was
brilliant.
wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, it was brilliant. It was sold out, and the love for all things Boo was just amazing.
The atmosphere came through. Just watching it on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, no, the atmosphere was incredible, and I had no idea it would be like that. I mean, I'd play festivals and things like that, but this was very, very special, and it's a beautiful venue as well, because
Yes.
it's quite intimate but very roomy as well. So you've got this kind of tiered sort of mezzanine area with lots of people at the top and loads of people in the front and at the back, and it was just so so vibey. I don't know.
We're all pleased to see you back. That's why.
Yeah, and lots of people were singing and rapping along to, like, Doing the Do, for instance, which is a very difficult
Very
rap,
difficult.
actually.
I've tried.
And even for me, I've got vocal memory, so and breathing memory, so it's okay for me now. But coming back, doing the do, say, doing festivals sort of a few years back,
Yeah.
it was quite a lot to do, so I was really impressed with the crowd that just knew the rap down. They had it down completely, so it was great.
And of course, you were performing new songs from your new album, which is out on Friday. Well, that's when I'll be posting anyway. So this Friday.
Yeah, this Friday. Yeah. So it was to be able to pepper in new stuff into my set and the old stuff as well. I kind of didn't do it in a kind of this is the old stuff, and then this is the new stuff. I put it in amongst all the tracks, so did 16 tracks, and it worked really well, and luckily most people knew the words to the new songs as well, because they've followed me and things on Instagram, and are familiar with my releases and even the teasers and things like that. So yeah, it was great. It's such a big buzz, and I can't really, if I could bottle that, it would be amazing.
Yeah. Well, I've got to ask, because of obviously this 4-star review and it all went so well, please tell us that you're going to be doing more.
Yes.
I'm coming to the next one. I'm not missing it for nothing.
No, you shouldn't, and you mustn't.
No, I won't.
Yeah. So we'll I want to take it to different parts of the country, in the UK, and so let's see. Next year, I think we're all ready to go. So get this album out, and I've started the second album. I mean, as in my 4th album.
Wow.
Process already. So I'm going back in on Friday to kind of the day of the release. I mean, I should be doing stuff really and talking to people, but maybe I'll be in the studio and maybe keep an eye on everything there. But yeah, I'm going to be back doing more music and keep the ball rolling.
Yes, that's what we wanted to hear, because we did wait a long time, haven't we? Yeah, 30 years. I mean, it was 30 years when you did Gurr, wasn't it? 1992.
Yeah, gosh, it is 30 years.
Yeah.
And when you say it like that, it is a long time. But it's like, in my life, it's like, I don't know where the time's gone, honestly. Yeah, it's the same for anyone, I think. But you reach sort of 50 or something, and you just go, wow, where did that time go? And you still feel like a 25-year-old.
Yeah. And of course, you've had your first review in today from Retro Pop Magazine, 5-star review, of course. That's a great way to start, isn't it?
Fabulous. I mean, I love that magazine, and the review is as if I wrote it myself.
No, I read it today. It was it was brilliant. I think it was all spot on, because we've heard quite a lot of the tracks, haven't we? But there's still some I haven't heard yet, so I'm looking forward to Friday for that.
That's good, yeah. And no, it's great, and I've got a few reviews coming out that I've done some interviews for and things like that. So I'm looking forward to
Betty Boo's on fire. Or should I say Betty Boo's the best thing since sliced bread? Like one of the lyrics. My favourite lyric. Now, how many times have you heard that?
Well, if things go in deep, that's like I've done my job, It's like it's what pop music should be. I mean, when I listen to like songs from my childhood, like the 80s stuff, say for instance, I don't know, Police or Blondie, you always remember the musical bits and all the kind of poppy bits and the guitar solos or something like that.
That's it. And certain lyrics as well.
Certain lyrics too, yeah.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh yes, that's what I've been dying to ask you today, because I only read it last night. You have a TV documentary on the go or something. You're going to be doing something for a TV. Are you allowed to talk about that or? I
can tell you that cool. I've been making it, and so we've been filming for that. I filmed some stuff earlier on in the year, so we're just adding a whole story to me coming back and a little bit of stuff from the past, just to give it some perspective. And yeah, it's exciting.
Is it like a fly on the wall documentary kind of thing?
Not so much. There might be elements of that. We'll see. We're just getting it all together, like filming loads of stuff and then see what we can cobble together.
Brilliant. Okay. I mean, when is this likely to come out? Is it for a TV station or?
I say it'll probably be next year. Not sure on it might be one of the arts programs. Probably one of those out there. We'll see.
Well, I'll definitely be watching.
Depends. It might be mainstream. It depends where I go from here.
That'll be good. Well, I'm sure this is the beginning of more things to come with the album and the concert as well now. So there's loads more things to come.
Yeah.
I'm actually really excited that you're working on another album. I mean, we are being spoiled. Two comes along at once.
Like a bus.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. We waited all for what seemed like an eternity, and then two come along at once. So when's that next? I mean, I'm being greedy because I'm waiting for your album on Friday, but when's the next one coming out?
Yes. Oh well, I suppose it will be have a couple more singles from the new one, bring out an album. But I think I just want to keep making music and keep the momentum going. And and these days, you can just. Even if I had a little track that I was working on, I could still put it out for everyone to hear, But I think there will be a sort of a standard kind of couple of singles, another album. We'll just see what happens. But there's definitely new material coming out. How we do it is another way. But what's exciting is I was just signing all my pre-order CDs and LPs.
Yes, I've got one. Yes, I've got one.
Oh gosh, I signed thousands. I was there for hours, like properly a long time.
Oh, just literally signing Betty Boo on everyone.
But I was very consistent. I made sure that everyone was the same. Or one might have a heart on it, might have a kiss. I was alternating it just to make it a bit different.
Yes, just to pass. Yeah, because I can imagine that must have been a laborious task as well. So.
You know what? I loved it because I knew that every single copy was going to a lovely home.
Yes.
And it felt great to be able to have them dispatched and off to everyone who's pre-ordered. So it's been lovely.
Yeah, well. Roll on Friday. Singles you just mentioned. What have you got a plan for the next single? One of my favourites is that I've heard so far is Nobody Can Bring Me Down. I can really imagine my 16-year-old self really getting excited and blasting it out, which I do anyway now, but it just took me back to my 16-year-old self. I was thinking, I can just imagine listening to this in high school and all of us going mad over it.
Yeah, that was great to perform, by the way. It was.
Yeah, I saw you perform that. Brilliant.
Jumping up and down, and it's a real message, kind of, it's a message to those who if like me, you've always been, I don't know, I was bullied and stuff at school, and also teachers weren't great back in the day, that you were sort of put in your place, basically. You weren't allowed to, there wasn't much social mobility, you weren't allowed to go and have ideas. And I was always told I had ideas above my station. Really? I said I wanted to do this, that and the other. Yeah. Um,
Oh my God.
so I channeled into that kind of messaging, and it can appeal to lots of people now, where you feel like you're sort of stuck, and that you can do anything you want if you just don't let it. And that's what that song's about.
Yeah, and it's brilliant. It takes me back to the vintage Betty Boo. That reminds me a little bit of the first album. Very streetwise sound going on.
Yeah, I suppose my influences are kind of, because I grew up in West London, there's a lot of kind of, I was influenced a lot by reggae and soul music. And I had friends across the road who lived across the road, and they had an amazing sound system because they were from Jamaica. And I remember them just blasting out tunes and not caring about the neighbours. And I used to love it because it was like their speakers were so bassy and and I sort of channeled into that Nobody Can Bring Me Down kind of track with that in mind. It was just like just feeling that bass in your tummy, and
yeah. God. Well, actually, that's just reminded me, talking of those teachers, I'm sure I read an article with you, and I'm talking like back in 1990 when I was a 10-year-old boy. Am I imagining it? Didn't you say you went to film Doing the video? Was that your old school?
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be in the old school, but they wouldn't let me. So we filmed it in another school in Battersea, which is in South London. But we reenacted scenarios where I basically come back to school, go back to my school, dressed up as a sassy kind of Avengers type character.
Yeah.
And I show the teachers and my headmaster, look what I'm doing now.
Oh, well, that was iconic because, of course, with us kiddies, when we were 10 years old, that was my favourite part. The last verse of Doing the video, and you push past the headmistress, I think it was, or the headmaster. Yeah.
But those are the days when you used to get a clip around the ear as well, which is what the teacher was doing that to me.
Oh, yes. Do you know, I've got to say, you really did pull off the part of looking like a schoolgirl as well, because the first shot of you was like a schoolgirl. I'm like, is that the same one? And oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Completely different.
I wasn't that long out of school, so it was I was makeup free in that one.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to take you right back to the beginning, because I know that you've spoken about this quite a lot in lots of interviews, but She Rockers, because they were a complete departure from the pop rap that you did when you went solo. What year? Was it 1987? Because I want to talk about the Public Enemy video, the one in McDonald's.
Yeah.
At that point, were you performing as She Rockers, or were you just sort of friends and sort of hanging around and sort of, we're going to do a group, or were you already performing as She Rockers at that point?
We were like a crew. We were a rap crew, and in those days, it wasn't really that serious. It was more, if you were going to clubs or to hip hop jams, you had to be part of a crew, and our crew was the She Rockers, and there were other groups out there, or crews. And so we would just go to hip hop jams and rap, or you just hang out there and look like you were really hard.
Yeah, badass.
Yeah. And it really was so silly. It's so made up, not real, But it was an introduction to me to be, I suppose, I knew I wanted to do something in music. I wasn't quite sure if it's going to be rap or not, and I had no idea that video would sort of resurface on YouTube like all these years later, because
how cool is that though?
I completely forgot about it.
Because I was going to say it would have been brilliant if that video had been included on the first video collection you did, the Booming Video Collections, which was a stocking filler for mine. I had that as a stocking filler that year. Yeah.
That's so cute. I didn't know it existed. I mean, if anything, it's like I just went straight into pop, and I completely, because I'd had enough of sort of the underground scene, and I was evolving into more pop, making pop music, and it was a lot more interesting for me. So I sort of didn't really go back to my hip hoppy roots, really.
No.
And
I mean, the girls, the She Rockers, do you keep in touch with them? Have you seen them, or are they still performing?
I haven't really seen them. No, I mean, I've had mutual friends that know of them, and but I live in a completely different part of the country now, and
you're in the countryside, aren't you? Are you still in the countryside?
Yeah, I'm a country bumpkin now.
Yeah, because I've seen some of your videos talking to us, thanking us all, and and I know I can remember 15 years ago, there was, well, I saw it recently. You did an interview with The Mirror, and Madonna lived down the road from you, I gather. We will talk about her more later.
Yeah.
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 So you never bumped into her since?
No.
Oh, it'd be such a shame. I mean, I've tweeted her a couple of times saying, "Oh, look who's back," but I don't know if Madonna. I don't think she actually manages her Twitter herself or not.
Oh, I think she manages her videos.
Yeah. She definitely manages her videos. Speaking about that Public Enemy video, I've just got to say, what that restaurant manager, wasn't he a miserable? And I like the way you sort of did the peace sign when you were going out, and then sort of a little. But that went viral, didn't it? When you posted it, I think it was last month, wasn't it? You posted it, and it just went viral. The likes of Kathy Burke were retweeting it, and all these different people.
Oh, really? Well, they did retweet it. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I think because I did Tracks of My Years on Radio 2, it was a story, and they put it on their BBC Sounds. And from that, that's quite a big platform. I think people got to see it, and they retweeted it. But yeah, the manager he thought we were causing trouble. I mean,
he did look like he was sort of like, no, can you please leave, lounge please? I'm like, they're just rapping. God.
Yeah, he had a nice 80s moustache as well.
Yeah. And a very miserable look on his face. I just kept thinking, well, does he know who you are now? Imagine if he's looking at that video now and thinking, oh my God.
I know, he might be thinking, I don't know. But the McDonald's is still there. I passed it the other day because I was I was in Shepherd's Bush rehearsing. We've got rehearsal studios there, and I passed it, and it's exactly the same apart from the outside because the colour schemes change these days. So, yeah. But yeah, I was really annoyed when they set up this new McDonald's in our area because it didn't have seating. It was the only one that I knew of that didn't have seating. So, but this manager was definitely very cross with us, and he just thought that we were bad, naughty.
You were hoodlums.
Hoodlums, yeah. As it turned out, when Chuck D, he saw it the other day, and when I did a Zoom with him, and he said, "Yo, that was my Ghetto Blaster."
Yeah.
He said, "I've still got that Ghetto Blaster," and I thought that's so cool.
It is. I love 80s. Very 80s, mate. Well, of course, talking of Chuck D, I've just got to say, I do love the part where you were walking out the video, you were walking out the restaurant, and then you sort of very casually said, "Oh, look, there's LL." I actually thought that was part of the act, but you actually did see LL Cool J, didn't you? Like it was an ordinary, everyday thing.
In the kebab machine.
Yeah. Now, of course, you've been reunited with Chuck D recently, with your brand new single, Miracle.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the video, by the way. So how was that? I mean, it must have been like coming full circle now.
Yeah, it was great. It was good. It was like visiting an old friend, but we did a Zoom a little bit before. I just wanted to make sure that we were on the same page. I didn't want to go there and feel like he didn't know what he was doing. So I talked everything through with him, and he was really excited for it. And he doesn't do anything with anybody. I mean, he's really, I don't know, put it this way, he's quite a private person, but he's very vocal in his beliefs and things like that. He's a bit like Martin Luther King in lots of ways, So I was absolutely chuffed that he did that for me. And the fact that when we made Miracle, when I did it with Andy Wright, my co-writer and producer, we just thought we could imagine him actually on it. Chuck D going, "It's a miracle," like Public Enemy too. And I thought that was just like a dream, maybe. But to actually send it to him, and then the following day, actually recording that on the record and rapping my words, big buzz for me, because I'm not sure if he's rapped other people's lyrics before. He's very into his own stuff, and but he loved it, and he was happy to be part of my journey back, and he was the one that reminded me. He said, "Well, we were kind of like mentors, I guess, for you guys back in the day." And I thought, yeah, actually, you were.
I mean, he encouraged you to go solo, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He didn't do that, and he was able to give me the advice that I wanted or needed, and the encouragement and confidence, and And I do remember him saying, you know, because women in music, it wasn't really, you know, it was a male dominated business, and he was very encouraging, saying, look, you're a woman, you can do what you know, you can do anything you want to do, so, you know, just go for it. And as a result of that, you know, I wrote and produced my own records. So my first stuff on, you know, first, you know, the Boomania and things like that. So
just before we go on to Boomania, because I'm dying to talk about that album as well. When did you go to America with Public Enemy? Because you toured America with Public Enemy. Was that the record company in America that you turned around and said something like, "You're all a bunch of wankers," and walked out? Was that you? It was. That definitely was you.
I don't know. I can't remember saying that.
I can remember reading an interview and thinking, I can't do that.
Excuse me, I've got a really bad cold, so I'm really sorry for everyone that's hearing my cough.
Oh, it's okay. It's that time of year. At least it wasn't last week.
I know. I mean, I did have a sore throat, by the way, but I managed to. I think adrenaline got me through.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we went to work with them in the studio and stuff like that out in New York, and when they went out and did their shows and stuff, they said, "Come along and, you know, just get some experience." And I don't really have much of a memory of it, other than, you know, the places they were performing at wanted to see Public Enemy, basically, not some English girls, really. So, you know, I can't say that it was hugely rewarding, but it was an experience, definitely. And you know, we were in at the deep end, definitely. But I do remember seeing, you know, what other rappers used to come and see them. Yeah. So as a result, I remember Run DMC being in the crowd and just sort of doing that. Yeah. That kind of thing. I'm cool. yeah. And Eric B and Rakim with their gold chains like this, and just standing there going, yeah, all right. Yeah, you're all right. So it was that kind of stuff that we had to experience, but it was enough for me to just feel like, you know, there's that fearlessness that you have as well when you're young. I didn't think about failure or anything like that. I just thought, this is what I want to do, and
nothing was going to stop you.
Well, yeah, there was. But I did have my mum down my neck saying, you know, you got to get a job. You got to do it, because I'm paying all the bills, and what are you doing? And she made me go and get a job, and I was always sacked because I was useless. I worked at Marks and Spencer's but only on a Saturday and a Thursday night, because that's what for late night shopping.
Yes.
So I did get a job of sorts. It was sort of 2 days.
Yeah. Before getting the sack.
Yeah. I remember what was the great thing about working at Marx's is the canteen.
Yeah.
I worked in the flagship store in Marble Arch in London on Oxford Street, and they had an amazing canteen where you could just get loads of Marks and Spencer's food. And I used to, because basically I would turn up after school, because that's late night shopping. You know, the shops would close at 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or something like that. So I'd finish school, get there for 4 o'clock, and then start work at 4:30. But I'd always take my time and made sure I had lots to eat. Yeah. It was more or less subsidised. So, you know, because Marks and Spencer's food was quite expensive back in the day. It's not so much now. But, you know, I just filled my boots. And then I got fed up of me turning up late, really. So.
And then you got the job.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter, because look where you went on to, because I gather around that time you would have met the Beatmasters, or am I going too far ahead?
It's kind of, you know, because it was I was part of the rap scene, I guess. I was kind of well known, as well in the club scene as well, because all the hip hop and dance music really sort of merged together. So people that were into that kind of thing would turn up at certain clubs in London, and it just so happened that Beatmasters had heard about me, and they were looking for a vocalist for their new single that was about to. They'd already had 2 songs out with like someone called MC Merlin, and
yes, I think that was. I do know what that is because I've got it on my YouTube channel. Actually, I can't think of it off the top of my head.
House? I think it's Who's in the House?
That's Who's in the House. That's it. Who's in the House? Yeah, I've got a Top of the Pops appearance for them on that.
Yeah, so it was like a hip house kind of thing.
Yeah,
that they were doing, and they had a single in the pipeline, but they hadn't found a vocalist for it. So somebody had heard about me, and they said. And they got in touch with me, the record label, and they said, do you fancy going down to the Strong Room Studios in Old Street, which is Shoreditch, and meet them and see if you like rapping on their track? So I went down there, met them, and I started rapping. And the next thing I know, it was a single, and I was on Top of the Pops.
Yes. And the rest is history, as they say.
It is. It's true, because it was. I think I'd recorded it in like April or May, and it was a summer hit, and yeah, it's sort of, I think I made 2 or 3 appearances on Top of the Pops for that, or at least the video was on there as well. And in those days, records had to enter the top 30 first, and then they would move up maybe into the 20s, and then into the top 10, and then you'd get appearances on Top of the Pops. So that would be, you'd always know if you're going to do well with a song. And nowadays you just, I don't know, it's all about Spotify.
It is. I mean, it's all changed now. I mean, I actually I know that you've said the same, Top of the Pops, that was my go-to program every Thursday, and then a chart show on a Saturday morning. I used to watch a chart show for your videos and stuff.
Oh yeah. My mum used to video the chart show and stuff whilst I was traveling and things. And I do. I mean, it would be nice to have a program that we could all tune into, because I think we would.
Well, I definitely would, because my friends' kids now, I thought I was down with the kids, but they'll mention groups to me, and I'm like, who's that? No. Yeah. And I'm like, you don't know who that is? And, no. Yeah. And I'm just really completely,
There's so much stuff out there as well, which is great, because it means that lots of young people can just put loads of stuff out, and anyone can, actually, not just young people. It's open for everybody. There's platform for anyone to go, and they can make their own video on an iPhone. It's great. It's
social media is, I mean, that's one of the advantages of social media, isn't it? Because there's quite a lot of artists that we're recording around the same time as you, like Kenny Thomas and EMF. Yeah. They're still recording now, aren't they?
Yeah, I think they are. Yeah. So, so it is a good thing. But I really like the idea of something just being, Thursday nights. Or when I woke up on the Thursday, it smelled like a Top of the Pops day. It felt like something to look forward to, I kind of missed that feeling, but it's been a while now, hasn't it? It's not been.
Because I remember the Sunday afternoons. It sat in my bedroom and press and record for every song and then get annoyed when the DJ would talk over the end of the record and spoil it for me.
We all did it, and got a smash hits or a number one, and follow the lyrics on the magazine and things. And
well, talking of lyrics, I've got to say, Smash Hits always used to publish your lyrics. And most songs, like songs by, I was listening to Kylie a lot at the time, and her songs used to go straight into my head. But yours, I would have to keep literally learning, and I'd try and keep up with them completely. Yeah, it took me ages to learn doing the do. I do now. It take me ages, yeah. And just every time I try to rap along, not very well, obviously, but every time I did, I would just completely lose pace.
It is quite complex, and it's there are a lot of words. When I was doing basically for this album, I had to write out or type out all the lyrics for the album, for the records, the new records, and I thought, blimey, I'd write a lot of lyrics. Lots of songs that just have the verse, the chorus, repeat, maybe a verse 2, a variation for verse 3, and it's like that. But mine, it's reams and reams and reams of lyrics. And
that's it. That's what it was like. It used to be, I'm going to learn that. It eventually sank in anyway.
Oh, good.
Because obviously, when you done the Beatmaster song, at what point was it where you were approached to do? Was it Rhythm King that approached you to do an album, a solo album?
Yeah. So after the success of the Beatmasters record,
Yeah.
they were signed to Rhythm King, and they just said, "Oh, we'd like to sign you, become a recording artist." So I bought some musical equipment with my royalties from that record, and set up a studio in my bedroom when I was living with my mum, and I learnt the technology. It wasn't really easy like it is today. I mean, this samplers were really difficult, and MIDI was fairly new, so I'm sort of self-taught in that way, but I found a way of making music in my bedroom so I could write my songs. And as a result of that, and I don't know, there must have been, I was just maybe rolling on the confidence that I had at the time from Hey DJ, but Doing the Do and Where Are You Baby, I wrote consecutively. And I thought, oh my God, I know these are good. And I played them to the label, and they went, "Oh my God, this is great! We're going to sign you."
It's going to explode. Yes.
Yeah. But the great thing about that is that I had, at that time it was very indie labels were fantastic, and Rhythm King were an indie label. So I was an indie act, and they let me do what I wanted to do. Which was rare for a female as well in those days.
Very.
Because my other artists, because Stock Aitken and Waterman were really a major kind of sound at that time, and the artists that they had, which by the way I loved their sound, and I loved their music as well, but they did have control over everything, and
yeah, well, I think that's why Kylie left, wasn't it? Eventually, she felt like she was a puppet.
Yeah, well, this is it. So female artists were generally puppets in those days, and so it was fresh for them to have somebody doing DIY music, really.
Yeah. And how long did that first album take you to make?
Do you know what? I remember just locking myself up in my room for over the Christmas period.
Yeah.
And just really concentrating on it like it was like an essay or something for school. And I pretty much had it finished. I mean, written, that is. I had to go and re-record it. I went to a residential studio to do that out in, I think it was Bury St Edmunds or somewhere like that, and then mixed it. So that process took another process, but to actually write it didn't take that long. Actually, it was. I really enjoyed having the space and the freedom to be able to express myself, and because again, in those days you would have to find a collaborator and book a studio, and studios you'd have to pay by the hour as well in those days.
Wow.
So you weren't quite sure if you were going to have ideas at the end of that session, and studios were expensive as well. So this way I was able to just have the freedom to do that and experiment a little bit, play with my records, and just spend time just doing it on my own, really.
Were you saying you were experimenting and playing with records? Because I thought the first album, like the second album, the first album's got a lot of variety of styles on it, I think, because I can still remember the first day that I got that LP, which was it was my 11th birthday, actually. It came out on the 10th of September, the day after my 11th birthday. So I always remember. And I always remember the biggest, one of the surprises was 24 Hours, Valentine's Day at the end of side one, because I had the vinyl. And the other big surprise was the track that closed side two, Leave Me Alone. They were a little bit different, I thought, Valentine's Day and Leave Me Alone, because you were singing in them as well.
Yeah.
So were you deliberately trying to make us, a really versatile album, lots of different styles, or?
Well, I think at the time I was thinking that, I didn't want it to be samey, definitely. But I also wanted to show that, because I used to sing classically at school, and singing for the school. My music teacher, my music department used to send me out to competitions and things, and I was always a soloist at all the concerts at school, and
Oh, I didn't know.
So I just thought, well, you know, it might be nice to put a bit of sort of my kind of falsetto voice in there somewhere. Yeah, I think it probably was. I probably wanted to showcase what I could do, really. Yeah.
Because Leave Me Alone sounds quite a little bit Motowny, actually. It reminded me of the Supremes in a way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought you sounded like a young Diana Ross.
Oh,
yeah.
You know, I haven't heard that for a long time, so I must go and listen to it again.
Yeah, and actually, the Where Are You Baby, the backing vocals and stuff, that reminds me of the Supremes a bit as well.
Yeah.
But Valentine's Day is my favourite for some reason. I don't know why. That seems really a reflective track. It's quite a standout, I think.
Oh, thank you. I have to revisit my old stuff because I haven't.
You must. I mean, I loved the expanded edition of the second album, Grr, because it also included 2 B-sides that I hadn't heard for years until that came out, which was Jet Sex and Platform Shoe Shuffle.
Oh, yeah.
Is that the same Platform Shoe Shuffle? Because I remember seeing you on Loose Women. I saw it recently. And you discussed a song that you'd written for a children's series, I think, called Platform Shoe Shuffle. I thought, that's not the same beat. What is it? Was that were they different?
I don't know. I think because that's the Grr album you're talking about was a reissue, which probably had remixes of from another thing.
Yes, it did have a lot of remixes on.
I think Platform Shoe Shuffle would have been a remix, the name of a remix. So it's not the same as the song that I wrote for the Tweenies.
Well, you'd also written, hadn't you put a lyric in about doing the do in a children's prayer song? Well, yeah, I had no idea. Well, I've got to say, this is how naive I am. I had no idea what doing the do actually really meant. But
I didn't either. It's but I think it covers a lot of meanings. Doing the do. Doing the do in rap means that you're running the show. That but with James Brown back in the 60s, he meant it something else, and I didn't know that. So yeah.
The Godfather of Soul, so it comes from him.
Yeah, but in hip hop, it means, because it's one of those kind of go-to things you might say if you're in a jam, a battle, or something, when you're talking about your running the show and things like that. So
I've got to say, because you're talking about being the boss and stuff and running your own show, which you did, because I was talking to a fan of yours earlier, Karen Benkoff. She said to say hi, by the way.
Oh, Karen, KB.
Don't worry, she's keeping it quiet about that it's not coming on till Friday. But she's, what was it we said? Do you know when you talk about something and you completely forget it? I'll edit this part out. No. It was because we were talking about people's perceptions of you. I know you've mentioned this before. It sounds very patronising, but Kylie at the time was like a sweet little cupcake to me, whereas you, Betty Boo, reminded me of the hard girls that were older than us at school and would nobody would mess with and stuff. And I was, she's hard, she'd slap you if you mess with her. And didn't you say interviewers expected you to be like that, like you were gonna punch them in the face or something?
Do you know, it's that persona, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
I think it was the Doing the Do video, because obviously you're messing and you're pushing people out the way and stuff. And so I always thought, oh, she's badass. Don't mess with her.
No, I do remember talking to a well-known DJ at the time, and I had to do an interview, and he said that he was cacking his pants.
Really?
And then he realised that I'm actually my real persona is I'm really shy, and quite withdrawn, really.
I've got to say, I remember seeing you on the interview and I kept thinking, oh, she does seem quite shy, actually. Not at all what I thought.
No.
But I mean, in 1990, I remember you doing rounds of Saturday morning kids shows. It felt like there wasn't a week that went past where you weren't on the cover of a magazine, because I had to buy everything.
Oh.
So I can imagine 1990 was just like a whirlwind year.
Yeah, it was. It was everywhere, and even in Europe, and and even in places like New York. In New York, I had to spend a lot of time doing the do was on import, so I was on white label over in the States, and it went to #1 in the Billboard dance charts without any push or anything like that. It went straight to #1, and I remember having to do lots of clubs out there, and there were lots of people voguing and stuff.
Oh yes.
And that's what's that program called? Where they've got what's it called with the the drag race kind of thing going on it. What was it called? It was a BBC series, and basically that's what the club scene was like over there, with lots of people dressing up and doing catwalks and things like that, and
very flamboyant.
Yeah, very, and that was what it was like over there. It's great.
I've just got to say, I love your background, by the way. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very Betty Boo.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I love fabric, and I love shiny things, and yeah, you wouldn't want to look at CDs and.
Oh, you can show me your CD collection. We don't mind. Come on. But I mean, is that the room that you go into now? Because I know that when you've done Get Me to the Weekend, you said you normally go into your bedroom or something, and you have like a bit of background to get you into the mood for it and stuff.
Yeah, I have a little section in my room, and I've actually I thought, I can't work and sleep in the same room. But then when lockdown happened, it was just now it's just my natural place. I kind of really feel comfy in here. It's a big room. It's like a converted cowshed, so it's very big, and it's got good acoustics. So
brilliant. Okay. Yeah. Got to ask you about a certain female that I know you were very friendly with. I'm sure it's just all a normal day for you, but it was very exciting to me. Madonna. Yeah. So she was a fan. Oh, I've just got to say, before I forget, I heard you on Instagram say that Madonna had written a song for you.
Yeah.
And it was on her, and she used it on Bedtime Stories. Well, there's a song on there called Don't Stop. I don't know if you've heard it. You have to go and listen to it. That is the song I'm sure was for you, because I can almost hear you singing it, honestly. I hadn't really like put the comparisons together until you said, oh, she wrote a song for me and she included it on her album and stuff. So Don't Stop, listen to that. And I think that sounds like it could be a track from your second album.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll listen to that. Yeah, definitely. But
go on, how did Madonna come about?
I said to her, though, she said that she liked it so much, she kept it for herself, right? So I said to her, I don't know, I was so feisty then. I said, so you mean if it was rubbish, you would have given it to me?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's sort of how it, yeah. And do you remember what she said to you?
She said, no.
So what was she like when you met her? I mean, were you kind of intimidated by, because I know Guy Pratt, a musician who played on her Like a Prayer album, he described her as being quite a frightening, formidable woman when you first meet her. He did, obviously, he really got on with her and stuff, but she can be quite frightening when you first met her. Did you feel that? Or
well, of course, you know, when you're going to meet Madonna, you're going to have this kind of preconception, aren't you? And but I remember thinking, well, I went to her apartment in New York, and I remember going up in the lift, one of those sort of iron lifts, you know, like you see in the movies.
Oh, right, yeah.
An old-fashioned lift, and I opened the gate, knocked on the door, and she answered the door. You know?
Wow.
And it was like, Madonna's answering her own door.
It must have been surreal.
I was expecting some kind of a couple of princes, you know, with no tops.
Yes.
Ushering me in.
Coming to her boudoir kind of thing. Yeah.
There was. She said, oh, hi, you know. And after that, I just really felt very comfortable with her. And but it was sort of surreal looking at her face, thinking, God, that is Madonna's face, you know, because we've seen her in so many different ways and profiles and magazine shoots and videos and different
constantly
looks.
Evolving, isn't she?
Yeah, but surprisingly petite. You know, she's shorter than me. I'm 5'6", 5'5", 5'6". So, and but perfectly formed, you know, just amazing. But she, I mean, she wants. Did you know about this? Where she loved my leopard print jacket so much. She kept talking about my leopard print jacket that I wore to go out to dinner, and she said, "Oh, I love that jacket." And I said, "Yeah, I love it too." And she kept going on about it, but I love that jacket.
Because she wanted it.
I said, "Yeah, me too. I love my jacket." Okay.
You're not having it, Madonna.
So at the end, she said, "You know, I really love that jacket."
Oh God. So she is very forward then. Did you give her the jacket?
Excuse me. Yeah. So I said, "Do you know what?" Took it off, have it. And she went, "Thanks." And next thing I know, I was in Los Angeles, and I just arrived. So the telly was on in the middle of the night. I was just, you know, discombobulated, turned on the telly, and she was doing some promo for the Bedtime Stories album. Mm. So there she was in an interview with my jacket on.
Wow. How cool is that? I hope you told everybody that's my jacket.
Well, I told people, but she ended up telling people, this jacket, it's Betty Boo's.
Oh. And she described your second album as a lost jewel, didn't she?
Yeah, she was very kind. And yeah, I don't really know why the record didn't do as well as the first one, but it's loads of people love the songs on there, all my fans.
I love it. Do you know, I know it's going to sound strange, but over the passing of time, I suppose I always used to remember Boomania more than anything, but it's strange since that expanded edition came out. Yeah. I enjoy your second album even more now than I did at the time, which is strange, isn't it? But I really love that.
Yeah, I enjoyed recording it because I was able to have like orchestras on there. We had big budgets, and you know, I was able to experiment with actual musicians and, you know, not use so many samples. You know, it was kind of I was just developing more as an artist, really.
You were, and you had the orchestra of the people that played on Beatles' Lady Madonna at the end of I'm on My Way.
You did, yeah. They had.
It's really cool.
That is, and it's the first time that Lennon and McCartney have ever, because I used the section of Lady Madonna. I would have got permission from them. And it's the first time Lennon and McCartney have had another name next to their writing credits ever.
Wow. And it's you. How cool is that though? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So so that was a proud moment. But it was Ronnie Scott and his other two sidekicks that played on that. And Ronnie Scott, as everyone knows, he's a legend and everything. So yeah. So
what's your favourite song from the second album? Do you have a favourite song?
I love Let Me Take You There.
I love the Four Top sample on that. That's brilliant, by the way. Yes.
Yeah. But you know, the sample thing is, here's my cat, here's Barry.
Oh, hello, Barry. We've heard all about you, famous Barry the cat. Oh, what a lovely cutie.
He's just come in. Oh, he's on
your attention, getting jealous.
He's immortalised now on the new album. Got pictures with Tom. I don't know, Tom Kennedy is another somebody who's he's a super fan, but he's also a friend and an artist. Yeah. So he designed the cover, and he put Barry on the cover, or on the inside anyway.
Bless. Oh, well, we'll see that on Friday, won't we?
Yeah.
Now, there's a little bit what I call in between, where you because obviously you left the music industry for personal reasons for quite a number of years, resurfaced in 2000, I think it was, with, was it Crazy D? Was it you? Crazy D, Live Caller? Or was that different?
I don't know.
I thought to myself, I've not heard that one. It's on, I was looking at discographies.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, I played it today and I kept thinking, that's not Betty Boo, but it was a rap song. But I always remember you being on the top 10 of 1990 on Channel 4's programme in 2000, because I got very excited knowing that you were a special guest, thinking, actually got a new album out. And you were asked at the time, will you make another record? And at the time you sort of said, I might make another record, you know, one day. And I honestly thought, nah, bless her. She's just saying that for us fans, not to break our hearts. But I don't think she seems like, you know, you're never going to return. And then happily you did with Wigwam.
Yeah.
6 years later. And then the club song that I love, Take Off.
Yeah, they're just sort of little side projects I've kind of done over the years. And it was fun to do. Take Off, I was asked to be guest vocalist on that.
Jack
Frog. And I love doing that because I really love that kind of dancey music at the time. And Wigwam, you know, just Alex and I were just mates, and we just fancy. He was sort of in the middle of, I don't think Blur were making a record at the time because Damon was doing all that guerrilla stuff. So nobody knew if Blur were coming back. So I think he was interested in doing a bit of music. So we just got on. And in fact, I mean, in Country Miles, we're neighbours, when it's not close at all. He lives in Oxfordshire, which is the bordering county to here. And we just used to record stuff either in his house or my house. And yeah, it was just a fun little side project that I don't think it was going to come to much, really. I mean, he was really into his cheese making and stuff. So
I've seen that he likes his cheese making stuff. He's still into that, isn't he? I've just got to say, I love the Wigwam video, directed by Dom Jolly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, it was the craziest video I've ever seen. All the cartoon cats and stuff. I mean, you were classed as Wigwam, but it was like, oh no, this is Betty Boo. This is a return of Betty Boo to me. The cartoon cats and stuff just reminded me of Betty Boo for some reason. You know, all that cartoon. Yeah.
It was fun. It was a fun thing to do. And in fact, Tom, who I mentioned, the talented artist who did the sleeve and everything and all the artwork, he won a competition on Pop Justice to be one of the cats.
Wow.
People would email Pop Justice and see if they could be a cat in the video. So he was one of them as well. So it's really cute that we've kept it going over these years and stuff. So.
Okay. I mean, are there any other tracks in the can for Wigwam? Will they ever resurface, or are they in the vaults?
No, there might be a few noodles, but they won't resurface.
No. Oh, okay then. So we're looking forward to your solo stuff anyway, aren't we? So we can't, you know.
I'm all about. I'm in the zone now. I'm back till I drop. So
you are back. Oh, good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Because I was going to say, but you know, you've relieved me when you said you've got another album coming on. Because I was going to say to you, please don't let us wait another 30 years for another album, please.
Oh, that's lovely of you. No, I really want to keep going. I've got some momentum, and I'm really enjoying it. And you know, I didn't know how it was going to,
how the public were going to react to it.
Yeah, and it's been absolutely amazing. And you know, it's just given me that little thing to keep going. And but the thing is, I'm really enjoying it. I'm not doing it for any other reason. And the reaction from people who love even revisiting doing the Do and Where Are You Baby, what those stories were. I've heard so many stories of how that song changed their lives, or what it means to them. You know, and some people have written to me and said it's almost like a coming out song for them, because they felt like they belonged where they didn't before then. You know, coming out and dressing up like me, they felt like that they could do anything. And
well, of course. Well, Ryan Clark wants to be one of your duets. I'll be one of your duets, but I have to lose Ryan first. So, I mean, I can't believe we've been chatting, because I know it was for an hour, so I can't believe it's been an hour already. So I'll speed things up. Right. Because God, do you know, one of those things? Once I turn off the computer, I bet you'll think, I'll remember that. I should have asked that, but I think I've covered everything. What have you got an idea of what your next single is?
I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking. I don't know. There's something in the pipeline, and it could come from the album, but it could be like a little remix, but made into a pop mix. I don't know. there is definitely another single on after this one.
Brilliant.
Definitely.
And of course, I loved your work with David Gray, by the way. And there's
Oh,
Sophie Ellis Bextor on the album as well, isn't she?
yeah, she is. She's a gem. She's really lovely. So, you know, her voice is so distinctive, and the fact that she, you know, she said yeah to doing Shining Star. She loved it. She thought it was a tonic. Very catchy.
I love the video to that, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah,
that was great fun, wasn't it?
It was. It was filmed in this place called God's Own Junkyard, which is in Walthamstow in East London, and basically the guy who ran it, he's sadly passed away, but he used to make all those neon signs for the movies and for the, you know, for famous shops and things. And over the years, he's just sort of collected them and put them in his workshop. So it was like this amazing kind of emporium of lights, and it ended up looking more like, I don't know, like a little club in Hong Kong somewhere.
It did look like a club, but I thought the whole scenery was very Betty Boo.
Yeah,
kind of had a cartoony feel to it, didn't it?
I definitely felt it's the most Betty Boo I've felt in a long time.
Oh, well, it's great to have you back. I know that everybody, we're all saying that. I've got to say, I was very excited when I first saw, I think it was the beginning of this year, just after Christmas, you brought the single out, wasn't it? And I just happened to come across an account, Betty Boo Mania, and I thought, oh, it must be a fan account. And I looked, saw your video, and I was like, no way, wow. And then as soon as that rap kicked in, oh, I've been counting them days. That was it. It just literally took me back to being a 10-year-old, like remembering how excited I used to feel when you used to announce another single. I even remember when you released that video collection, and the exciting part was I hadn't seen the 24 hours video, so it wasn't like YouTube in those days. You had to buy the video collection, didn't you, to see your videos? So it's been really an honor to speak to you, because honestly, I've got to say your music connects me with my young self, and it makes me feel young every time. It's my go-to music for feeling cheerful and happy.
That means so much to me. It really does. And all your retweets and promoting everything that I do, I really appreciate it. And
you're very welcome. We're just glad to have you back. We don't want you to go away again. That's why.
I don't want to go away now, because
Yay!
I've met a lot of people like you who really love what I do, and it really is a big motivation for me.
And your audience is still building up if you keep spreading the word, because other people are finding out, oh, Betty Boo's back, and then so that's why I'm constantly retweeting as well. So
yeah,
you know, have you got anything planned before Christmas to release, or are you leaving it all till New Year now?
I don't know. I mean, Christmas isn't that far off, is it?
No, it's not.
And we're thinking about excuse me. Excuse me.
Right.
We are thinking that thing that I was mentioning, we're not quite sure what it's going to be. Maybe a remix of an extended version of a song. I've got one in mind, but I need to do it first. So, but there's definitely more stuff to come from this album. How it's sort of done, I don't know yet. But you'll know about it.
We'll know about it. I'll be watching 2023. Here we come. Betty Boo is on fire, and she's got more coming on the way. And I've got to say, I can't wait for this TV documentary.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's a bit of me in the studio, and there's lots of different things, and we'll just make sure it's a good story, and because it's a big deal to come back from being away for so long, especially being a woman. You know, you don't know, you're under a lot of scrutiny. You know, the first thing people will say is, you know, what's she going to look like? Does she have to work? Does she look good for her age? Does she look bad for her age?
It is a sexist thing, isn't it? People do generally tend to be like that with women, especially Madonna. I mean, I'm always sticking up for Madonna.
Me too. And I'm always saying that, you know, Madonna is Madonna. She can do whatever she wants. And the same applies to everybody else. If you feel like doing something, don't listen to anybody. Just do. If it makes you happy, do it, and go for it. Don't let anyone hold you back, ever.
Yeah, absolutely. Betty Boo, I've got to say, I can't believe I'm saying those words 32 years ago. That was when you had the Boomania album out. So, my God, I never thought I'd be sat here speaking to Betty Boo, but thank you for being such a special guest and talking to me. And I hope we can do this again, maybe in another year's time when the next album's out.
Yeah, we'll talk anytime.
Yes, good. And I'm always on Twitter and Facebook anyway. So, well, it's been so exciting. This has been my favourite, most, I don't want to, not to disregard anybody that's come on before, but this is my favourite and most extra special interview. Betty Boo, you were my poster girl when I was 10 years old, so it's very special today. And you've been a brilliant guest. I've really enjoyed talking to you.
I've enjoyed talking to you too. It's been fun, really good fun.
Thank you. And obviously, just between us, I shall put this all on Friday and tag you in it, and then we'll go from there. I have to keep my eyes very eagerly peeled for the next announcements.
Hopefully my cough won't scare people.
No, I'm sure it won't, but I do hope you get better soon anyway.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think I'm on the other side, actually. I'm glad I didn't get COVID, that's all.
Yeah. Oh, well, you've been an absolute superstar, to quote one of your songs, superstar. So thank you, Betty Boo.
Thank you so much, Ian. Stay in touch.
Stay in touch, and I'll speak to you very soon.
Yeah, bye.
And I can't wait for the next concert.
Oh, good. Excellent.
Thank you.
Bye.